So Errol Spence destroys UGAS within 10 rounds. It's obviously a doctor's stoppage because of the eye problem that he had. His eye swelled up because of a hematoma that was caused by Errol Spence's punches. This was a very, very, very impressive performance by Errol Spence. I've always thought that Terrence Crawford would destroy Errol Spence. I just thought he had more wrinkles in his games. And to be honest, I'm not the type of fighter that would switch his predictions last minute. But I'll be honest, after seeing that performance against UGAS, I'll be honest, I would not be surprised if Errol Spence actually beats Terrence Crawford. You got to think about it. Terrence Crawford has been knocked down by Mean Machine. Has been knocked down by Gamboa, who ironically fought last night as well in the co-main event. And if he can get hurt by fighters like that, then I definitely think Errol Spence could definitely hurt him, can definitely make him uncomfortable in there. Honest to God, this fight was a great show of body punching and inside fighting. I mean, I feel like inside fighting is almost like a lost art in boxing these days. Like, you very rarely see fighters fight on the inside like they did last night. I think both fighters showed that they can do it. Obviously, UGAS showed it, and obviously Errol Spence showed it. But obviously, Errol Spence just looked phenomenal in there. In the first round, I would say that the fight was a bit more circumspect. Both fighters were just trying to feel each other out and see who had what to offer, and it was almost like the battle of the jab. There was a few body shots here and there, but there was anything major. No one was really committing. The second round, I actually had UGAS winning that round, and then the third round, Errol Spence started off very strong. He really put it on him, and he started letting his hands go. But then towards the end of the third round, that's when UGAS started letting his hands go. They're both relentlessly thrown to each other's bodies and trying to rip each other to shreds on the inside. I think on the sixth round, I think UGAS landed a right hand, and it made the mouthpiece from Errol Spence's mouth come out and drop on the floor. And I think Errol Spence was surprised that he fell on the floor and tried looking for it. Instead of keeping his hands up and protecting himself at all times, got caught with two shots, and it almost looked like UGAS had an opportunity there to really stop Errol Spence, but then the referee came in and stopped the action. I feel like the referee interfered in this fight a little bit too much for my liking. I feel like it's a bit too much interference from the referee. The referee kept coming in and saying, look at the guy's eye and the mouthpiece and that. And to be fair enough, he's just doing his job, but I feel like he interfered a bit too much. I think he should just let the fight continue. I think the fight could have continued for one more round. I know UGAS's eye was completely shut, but I think because he was the champion, they should have let him go on for one more round. But to be fair, it's better to be safe than sorry. And I think this was one of the best performances of Errol Spence's career so far. Obviously, his performance against Kell Brook was good, but I feel like Kell Brook had more success than UGAS had. While this was a complete domination, and he completely dominated him and managed to unify the WBA to his IBF and WBC belts. So this right here is probably one of the most impressive performances that he's shown thus far in his career. The way he completely dominated him, I mean, you'd like to think what would have happened if he would have fought Pacquiao, and if he didn't get that retina injury. Imagine what he would have done to Pacquiao. Now, I'm not saying obviously Pacquiao's a different fighter to UGAS, but it would have been interesting to see what he would have done to Pacquiao if they would have fought each other. Seeing how good he looked here, I mean, he looked incredible here. So yeah, I think he's making little changes in his career that are having a big difference. Like I heard him say that he got a nutritionist and all of this stuff that's allowed him to cut the weight in a healthy way, and maybe that's what's allowed him to have more energy in the ring, because towards the last couple of rounds when he was letting his combinations flow, it was incredible. The combinations he was letting go, the way he was fighting on the inside, the outside, the combinations, the way he was switching it up from head to body, the uppercuts especially, the right hands, the body shots, the left hooks, the right hands, right hooks to the body. It was just a whole cluster of punches that he was putting together, and it just seemed like UGAS was overwhelmed. And I've never seen Errol Spence have that level of energy during that round when he was putting punches together beautifully. The way he was like switching up the combos, it looked like he had a second lung in there. And the reason why I think he had that was because of the fact that I think the weight cut was a lot less brutal for him. Like Errol Spence has been known to sometimes blow up in between fights. There has been times when he's been shown that he's been a bit lackluster in terms of his weight cuts outside of the ring. Sometimes he puts on a bit of weight, but truth be told, I think the weight cut was a lot better for him for this fight, and that's why he had more energy when he was in the ring, and it really showed in his performance when he started letting his hands go. It really showed. So yeah, from that perspective, I just think Errol Spence is definitely a special fighter, and as a Terrence Crawford fan, if they both were to fight, I'll definitely be worried for Terrence Crawford. I'll be like, yeah, Terrence Crawford has got a problem now. And to be fair, he has cleared up his side of the street. He got the WBC belt, he got the IBF belt, he got the now he got the WBA, and now he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this fight. Hopefully the fight can happen. The one thing that I'm worried about is now that he's got 3 belts, and in his own mind he thinks he's the star. He thinks he's a way bigger star than Terrence Crawford is. I'm scared that the fight might not happen because Errol Spence might say, I want an 80-20 split, or I want a 70-30 split, and obviously Terrence Crawford, rightly so, does have a bit of an ego, and he's not going to accept that. And to be fair, it's going to be hard to justify him not getting that split against Terrence Crawford because of the fact that he does have 3 belts while Terrence Crawford only has 1. In his own mind, he sees himself as a bigger star, while Terrence Crawford, in a lot of people's eyes, is not seen as big a star as an Errol Spence. So yeah, from that perspective, I feel like him winning this fight ironically might stop the fight from happening, because he's going to be more playing hardball in the negotiation tables, because he does have 3 belts as opposed to 2. If somehow Terrence Crawford would have got an UGAS fight and got the WBA title, I feel like the negotiations would have been more split down the middle, and they would have been more fair with each other, because Terrence Crawford would have had 2 belts and Errol Spence would have had 2 belts. So they both were, and their pay-per-views are not that discomparable from each other. Like, they're very comparable to each other. Like, it's not like one guy's selling 10 million pay-per-view buys while another guy's selling 500k. They're around the same level. So if they both had 2 belts each, then I think the fight could have happened. But now that Errol Spence has 3 belts while Terrence Crawford only has 1 belt, I feel like in terms of negotiations, Errol Spence might play hardball, and then Terrence Crawford might not want to entertain his offers. But you know what, that's a video for another day. Just saying it from a fight perspective, if you're a Terrence Crawford fan, you got to be a bit worried, because bloody hell, like, even if you don't like the guy, Errol Spence looked tremendous yesterday. He looked incredible, and yeah, it was a very workman-like special performance, and I think it's probably one of the best performances of his career if you take into account who he was up against, who was winning. I mean, he gave a very good performance. But yeah, that's just my opinion about this. What's your opinion? Do you think the fight is going to happen now, or do you think the fight's not going to happen, or what do you think is going to happen? Tell me below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way.